Do you realize that only less than 2% of white Americans own slaves?
But it was a system of white supremacy.
That is a blatant lie in your face. 21% of white households, 21% of white households own slaves. As much as you think that those lies don't affect anybody, I have white Americans in my comment section saying, well, less than 2% of people owned slaves. They just ran with it and did no research. Now, it's bad enough that you're already trying to debate whether slavery is that bad or not. And then you go on to say that, oh, this teaches that white people are bad. No, this is called history. This is called education. You know, the thing that we need to learn in order to not to repeat itself. But America is so fixated on not taking accountability that we will never change. So when the narrative changes and they do wipe away slavery, you know what's going to happen? 50 years from now, they're going to say, slavery what? When did slavery happen? Slavery wiped away entire cultures, Native, African, and everything in between with dark skin. And did not just wipe those cultures away. They then created a mental system in order to imprison these people for hundreds and hundreds of years. History does not teach just Caucasians are bad, but it does teach that they set up the systems in America. This should not even bother you as a white American. You should actually want to know the history of your own country.
Trump just replaced Elmo with the Christopher Columbus show. This is insane, guys. Look at this. The Trump administration is now seeking to replace PBS with Prager University, a far-right propaganda organization that isn't actually a university. One of their kids' videos has Christopher Columbus telling them that slavery was no big deal and better than being killed. This is crazy. Look what a bunch of people in the comments have to say about this. Somebody said, so what, question mark, it's bound to be less biased than PBS. And yeah, that's kind of true. Another person said, but PBS had that one video of a drag queen, so obviously it had to go. And yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Check out what Eric has to say. Eric said, hey, I looked into it, and you'll be shocked to find out the electric company isn't actually an energy supplier or an actual company. It's just an educational kids show. Wow. Yeah, guys, this is insane. People are literally saying that the Christopher Columbus show is literally replacing Elmo. Elmo is getting shut down. I mean, that's what Trump is trying to do, at least. Maybe you'll get more education on the Christopher Columbus show than Elmo, but I don't know. Drop your guys' thoughts in the comments about this.
Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? Before you judge, you must ask yourself, what did the culture and society of the time treat as no big deal?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Olivia. So now Trump is pushing the anime series where the character says it's better to be slave than to be a killer. That's not entertainment, guys. That's a propaganda. It's an attempt to replace real black history with submission stories while erasing the truth of our struggle and resilience. Don't be fooled. Protect black history, call out the lies, and keep our voices strong. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Give this video a thumbs up and drop your thoughts in the comments.
I just saw a video from PragerU saying slavery wasn't so bad. I saw a video of them saying that slavery was just a product of the times. And this is the organization that Trump is attempting to replace PBS with. What are we gonna do, y'all? Like, we need mass movements. We need organizations. We need an ecosystem. I know parents can't teach their children. They're working. They're trying to survive. We need multiple organizations, multiple channels, multiple media that's telling our history, that's creating community, that's combating these lies. Because if we don't, it might not be us, it's not going to be the next generation, but it's going to start getting foggy. And eventually, it might be in 2-3 generations. They're going to be like, was it really slavery? Were they just servants? Were they just helping around the house? Oh, they benefited from it'll be completely different. We already pretty much get a sanitized version of slavery. Just imagine if it goes the way they're attempting for it to go. It will be a complete rewriting of history. What he's doing in the Smithsonian, this man has an assault on black people and black history that is honestly scary in my opinion, because I know that parents do not have the time to teach their kids this. And I just know that we have to create our own media. We always say, man, the media doesn't really teach certain things, and the schools, they aren't really teaching. We have to create that. We do. We have to create platforms to tell our own stories, because they won't. They're going to lie about it. They're going to sanitize it. If we don't tell our own stories, nobody else will. So what are we doing to combat this? It's our history. If we don't care about it, nobody else will.
PragerU might be the most dangerous thing that's going to happen to the United States. If you haven't seen PragerU, they are this educational private company. There's a clip going around that has like an animated Christopher Columbus teaching children that it's better to be a slave than to be dead. Like, it's better to be a slave than to be dead. And the thing is, like, I don't think y'all understand how easy it is for people to be indoctrinated, because like critical thinking skills are shot. Because at face value, anyone's like, sure, yeah, it's better to be alive than to be dead. But it's literally indoctrinating children to believe in a slave class. Like, there's a reason why when the 13 colonies fought for freedom, they said, give me liberty or give me death. Or in Black Panther, when Kilgrave says, throw me overboard so I can like be with my ancestors, because I'd rather be dead than to be a slave. Because children are programmed to like believe adults. Like, they're programmed to be like, okay, this is someone that knows more than me. I should believe them. Like, they don't have discernment because they don't have the life experience to understand how the world works. And the administration wants to put PragerU, this company, their videos in every single public school. And as someone who taught for 4 years, like, I'm just starting to feel like this is not good. This is not good.
You know how people right now say the country's going backwards? I'm going to give you a demonstration of that. I'm not going to talk about economics in that kind of way, but I'm going to talk to you about enslavement was about 250 years, right? From 1619 to 1865 or thereabout, maybe not in Texas. Okay, so that's about 250 years, 246, 250 years. Jim Crow and segregation followed that. That was 100 years. So really, a lot of people like to say, you know, we were enslaved for 350 years, because Jim Crow and segregation was slavery, about 90% of enslavement. It was about 90%. Now that 90% declined as you get closer to 1965, when the Civil Rights passage was passed, when civil rights laws were passed. So you got 250 years, you got another 100 years, you got the civil rights laws from 1965 to right now. That's only 60 years. I'm 61. I was born in 64. I was born 1 year before the civil rights laws were passed. So I was born in that time of Jim Crow and segregation, right? The tail end of it, but those laws were passed in 1965. So here we are in 2025. We can effectively say that the era of civil rights is over. It was a 60-year period. It was only 60 years that the majority of white people, not all, I see you, you're one of the good ones, I see you, not all. It was only 60 years that white people were able to accept black people having a type of freedom that allowed us to excel and achieve and grow and change this country and change ourselves. And despite what you see on the nightly news, on movies and TV, and in big media, legacy media, black people achieved a lot in those 60 years. And you know what? Look, that's not to disregard the 250 years that our ancestors worked through to get to those 100 years that our ancestors, my grandparents, my parents and grandparents fought to get to 1965 to get us to right here. We've seen one of the most remarkable community civilization turnarounds and glow up in world history in those 60 years. But they will tell you that we accomplished nothing and all we asked for were handouts. Don't believe those lies. Black women at the top of education. We build businesses. We build communities. We have achievements that have spanned the globe and emulated our culture, our people, our styles, our music, our movies, our books, our education, our sociality. It's everywhere. We did that in 60 years. And the backlash you have right now is to that. but they're not going to win. We are.
Trump is proposing slavery to the immigrants who don't want to be deported. So what about the ones who never made it past the oceans, allegedly? What about the ones that they built the death trap for in Florida, alligator Alcatraz? And what about the ones who just was a matter of just getting their visas extended? All that they might have had time to do if they were allotted the time to up until September like they were supposed to, because everything else was done unlawfully. All the deportations were illegal because their time wasn't up to be able to. They didn't get due process simply. But if you think that slavery ends there, because the way it's going with the amount of people out of work, the homelessness, their benefits, all that stuff, the way all of that's going, yeah. Just, what was the intent? To make America great again. To me, it looks like make America white. Not again, because they weren't the first one here. So, yeah. Why we can't all get along? Why we all just can't love each other? And then to have the word mega Christians come out the same mouth as mega. How can God be pleased with this? How can God be pleased with this? How can you call yourself a Christian? So, I don't see make America hate again. I don't see.
So to be clear, Donald Trump has done nothing to earn a Nobel Peace Prize. There's no reason to give him one. He's done nothing to advance peace in the world. But he really wants one. He really wants one because, Barack Obama has one. The black guy has one. He wants one too. So apparently he has now called Norwegian authorities to say he demands a Nobel Peace Prize. And if they don't give it to him, he's going to tariff them. True story. This from Courier News. When U.S. President Donald Trump called Norway's finance minister last month to discuss tariffs, he also told him he wanted the Nobel Peace Prize. A Norwegian Business Daily reported on Thursday. The announcement comes in October in Oslo. The Norwegian newspaper says that it was not the first time Trump had brought up the prize in conversation with Stoltenberg, a former Secretary General of the NATO military alliance. This man is trying to live his best life now in his late 70s, and he wants all the things. A special ballroom in the White House to make him feel grand. He wants the Kennedy Center renamed after him. Of course, he wants to keep Congress so that he can keep stealing and doing crime. And he really, really wants this Nobel Peace Prize because, it's his life dream. And so rather than earn it, he wants to just have it. People like Donald Trump and MAGA people love to say that DEI stands for didn't earn it. That applies to no one like it applies to their king, Donald Trump, who's earned literally nothing and still wants to have everything. Well done, MAGA.
Do you notice something about all the cities Trump wants to go after? He's gone after Washington, D.C. He's gone after Los Angeles. He wants to go after Baltimore, Oakland, Chicago, New York. He's going after New York, kind of. You notice something about those cities? Mayor of L.A., Karen Bass. Mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser. Mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. Mayor of Oakland, Barbara Lee. Mayor of Baltimore, Brandon Scott. Mayor of New York, Eric Adams. Interesting. Something in common. Interesting coincidence. Of course, it's not a coincidence. Of course, the president is relying on old tropes about cities with large numbers of black people being inherently violent and dangerous and lawless. He's relying on tropes that date back to Reconstruction about black people being unable to govern themselves. They need the stern hand of the state to keep them in line. He's relying on imagery from the 60s and the 70s of urban disorder and urban decay. Despite the fact that, as we've discussed in previous videos, crime in these cities is down. Baltimore had a 50% decline in its murder rate. Los Angeles, not a particularly dangerous city, right? But there are these tropes, these ideas, these notions about the inherent criminality of black Americans, about the criminogenic qualities of black Americans. If you scroll through TikTok, you see people say this stuff all the time. It's very silly. And that's the kind of stuff that Trump is relying on, these tropes, these ideas, these stereotypes. And it's very obvious. And so that's the connection. The thing that gets me, honestly, it's not that he's doing it. I kind of expected it. I mean, this is a guy who launched his political career attacking the sitting president, Barack Obama, as being some sort of foreign usurper because of his background. The thing that gets me is that it's very clear that the president, the current president, is a deranged racist. And so many people in the media treat it like it's not a story. He's a deranged racist, openly prejudiced against a large swath of the American population. And people treat it like it's not a story. I don't think that's good. I don't like that.